today's match between the St. Mary's Gales and your California Golden Bears. Ladies and gentlemen, will you now please welcome the St. Mary's Gales. Do so, please rise for the playing of our national anthem, performed today by the California Straw Hat Band.
It is a crisp spring afternoon here in Berkeley, California. Good afternoon and welcome to Witter Rugby Field. I'm Keegan Engelbrecht, bringing you all the action in today's East Bay Derby between the California Golden Bears and the St. Mary's College Gales. Cal hosts its second consecutive home contest after capturing a 24-19 win over Army on homecoming last weekend. The Bears registered 4 tries by as many players, and their defense had a strong showing against the Black Knights in front of a packed crowd here in Strawberry Canyon. Second consecutive weekend today of a sold-out Strawberry Canyon Witter Rugby Field. The fans in for an absolute treat of superb, high-quality collegiate rugby as we're set to kick off from the burst of the whistle of referee Matt Lawrenson and the right boot of Mac Fell. We are underway here in Berkeley. Expect to see plenty of intensity and physicality early on in this contest. No love lost between these two sides. Not only a NorCal rivalry on display this afternoon, but a collegiate rugby rivalry as well, as Emmett Cook, the fullback, gathers an exit ball from the Gales, and California is on attack. Errant ball from Boynia, but jumped on by Santos as he dumps it off to Mac Fell. Driven back in the tackle by TJ Pappas from the Gales. Offsides cleverly spotted by Solomon Williams. Santos wants to play advantage. Just a little bit too much on that one, but we'll come back to the advantage, with the penalty being awarded to California. Only 2 changes in the Bears side this afternoon from last week's contest against Army. The freshman Oliver Kirk retains his starting position in the front row alongside Cade Christ and his captain Charlie Walsh. Hugo Schroeder with Seamus Deely earning a start this afternoon in the second row, with John Puckett and Brian Boynia, the flankers, and Iramea as the 8th man. A pair of Rudy Schultz nominees, more on that in a moment, from Solomon Williams and Rand Santos, the halfback pairing this afternoon. Mac Fell and Max Threlkeld in the centers, with Masi Coy, Joe Kirsten, and Emmett Cook in the deep 3. Cal unable to convert on that line out, turning the ball over as the Gales are going to get to work. See another exit kick from St. Mary's as the ball crosses the sideline for another attacking line out for the Bears. Not much change for the Gales. John Henry Rouse, Nate Deegan, and John Wilson. A Rudy Schultz nominee and Wilson in the front row. Cahill Coakley, the captain this afternoon and leader of this side, with Brian McKeon. With the back row of Matt Abbas, Joey Manzomi, and King Matu. Keep your eyes on the 8th man for the Gales, King Matu. Big, powerful runner is Matu. Hunter Maudlin and Ollie Klein in the 9 and 10 shirts. TJ Pappas and Dom Bisag. Dom Bisag having been capped with a full senior men's team, the USA Eagles, as Solomon Williams spots a bit of space, getting in behind the Gales, with TJ Toyavu, Siali Ofa, and Mario Storti, the senior out of De La Salle High School, in the fullback jersey. Holding on in the tackle, says referee Matt Lawrenson. I think that's Seamus Deely, the transgressor for California, as the Gales earn themselves another penalty. Quick tap from Klein. Bit of space spotted in behind. Good heads-up play from Klein. As the Gales work their way into Bear territory. Curious decision from Klein there, maybe opting to take advantage of some space. Also, a steady breeze in the faces of the Gales. Kind of an awkward ball, but jumped on by Puckett. Eventually gathered up by Kirk. Into the arms of Iramea. And the Bears want to run. Through the hands now, Mac Fell. Threlkeld into Cook. Coy eventually brought down by Toyavu, his opposite number. Here's Walsh. Jumped on quickly by Nate Deegan, the hooker for the Gales. Santos with a flat ball into Boynia. Numbers if the Bears can use it. Threlkeld. Iramea again. Cal wants to keep working that short side. Good meters gained by Cook. Kirk. Numbers again from the Bears available to this open side, just out of screen. 2-on-1 opportunity here from Threlkeld. Out to Coy. Space for Coy. Very well tackled on this near touchline by the winger JT Toyavo. Good expansive rugby early from Cal. With lots of aggression and intensity being brought at the tackle line for the Gales. I think it's a high tackle from Toyavu on Coy from that last exchange. Perhaps a blood sub, as Toyavu was slow to get up. And the Bears earning themselves a penalty, working their way just inside the 22 with another attacking line out. And an attractive attacking set piece for California. Does look like it's going to be a blood sub for Toyavu to get cleaned up. Another sloppy ball at the line of touch, but eventually jumped on by Iramea. Bears going to work with ball in hand. Santos into Threlkeld now. Fell. Cook. Santos out the back, one man to beat on the far touchline. Gets it over. Very well done from Rand Santos. And that far corner, try time in Boomer's corner. 5 points for Rand Santos and the California Golden Bears. I mentioned that attacking line out, such an attractive option and such a good attacking opportunity available. Those set piece opportunities deep inside Gale territory. A little sloppy at the line of touch, but well worked by California through the hands. Santos eventually looping around, getting his hands back on the rock with one man to beat. I think it was Mario Storti who did his level best to keep Santos out of the try zone, but unable to do so as Santos leaves that ball just out to the right of the uprights, unable to pick up the additional 2 points. Leaves our score 5 points to 0 in favor of California with 8 minutes gone in this first half. Back underway from a nice high restart from Ollie Klein. The fly half gathered calmly by Deely. Boynia with a nice hot line. Brought down by Deegan and a bit of space spotted by Williams. Coy's going to serve as the scrum half with a big right shoulder from John Wilson. High ball from Santos, chased well by Kirsten. Well tackled by Kirsten and well done from, I think that was Klein. And California turns the ball over here just on the far side of halfway. Backwards says the referee, and we play on. Cutout ball from Williams to his captain Walsh. Iramea unable to hold on to it. Space in behind spotted by Klein. Cook's going to let it bounce and move the ball wide to Coy. Returning the kick to a waiting Storty. Storty's quick. Eventually brought down by Walsh. Here's Bisag. Show and go from Pappas. Maudlin to Bisag. Bisag again, out the back to Klein. Klein unable to bring it in. Advantage being played, it seemed, from the referee. After the knock on, it looked like the ball was hacked through, much to the dismay of the St. Mary's fans. I think that was Joe Kirsten receiving a bit of a warning from the referee. In fairness to Kirsten, plenty of excitement, plenty of noise from the fans this afternoon at Witter Rugby Field. An exciting afternoon of collegiate rugby on display here at Witter. The California Golden Bears playing host to the St. Mary's Gales. I'm Keegan Engelbrecht with you this afternoon on ESPN+. St. Mary's with an attacking line out inside the 22. I think their first effort inside the Cal 22 so far in this first half. Brought down by McKeon. Klein dumps the ball inside. St. Mary's about 15 meters out. Deegan to Rouse. Another infringement spotted by the referee. I think that time it was California not rolling away. Interesting opportunity and decision time for St. Mary's. So deep in Bear territory, might they opt to have a shot at goal and pick up the available 3 points, but it looks like Klein's going to instead go for the attacking lineout, placing a perfectly weighted kick right on the 5 meter. Might we see a Gale rolling maul? So difficult to stop is a well-established maul, especially 5 meters out of your own try line. Little movement from the Gales. Here they go, picking up 5 points on their own via the tight head and Ruli Schultz nominee, John Wilson, the junior hailing from Denver, Colorado, as the Gales answer with a try and 5 points of their own 4 minutes after California. Good bit of movement at the line of touch from the Gales. Saw Wilson trail around, as I think everyone in the Canyon this afternoon was expecting the rolling maul, myself included. Catching the Bears off guard. The big man, John Wilson. I had an opportunity to catch up with Coach Andrew Cook yesterday afternoon. When asked who are some of the Gales I should keep an eye out for, the very first name out of his mouth was in fact John Wilson. Wilson not disappointing. As St. Mary's picks up 2 more points, brings our score 7 points to 5 in favor of St. Mary's via the right boot of scrum half Hunter Maudlin. Nice high restart into the East Bay sky from center Mac Fell. Eventually brought in by Ollie Klein. Big strong tackle from Puckett, but keeps his legs alive, does Deegan. Klein, Bisag. Pappas out to Storty. Bears will want to keep Storty in front of them. He's quick and fast. Another good shot put in by John Puckett on Manzoni. St. Mary's wants to clear their lines. Santos now is going to put it into the big man, Iramea. 250-pound freight train is Iramea. Iramea, the 8th man for the Bears. Christ dumping it off to his front row partner, Kirk. Kind of an awkward ball from Santos, unable to bring it in. And a knock-on spotted by the referee. Much to the excitement of the Gales fans on that far touchline in the grandstand. We'll see, I think, perhaps the first scrum of the afternoon. These first few scrums so important for each side's pack, wanting to assert their dominance, their physicality. A lot of pressure on both front rows, excuse me. Scrum centers also present such an attractive attacking option for the Gales, with so much space available to them on the left side and right side of the scrum. Looks to be the balance of the Gales backline shaping out to this right side, with Storty lining up just out of frame directly behind the scrum with his fly half Klein. Storty's gonna move left. Here goes Maudlin finding Storty. The hotline via Offa. Turned over and jumped on by Kirsten, illegally so, says the referee, as John Puckett is slow to get up. Looks to be in quite a bit of pain is Puckett, clutching his right knee. We'll hope that he's okay. Such an exciting rivalry is the California St. Mary's rugby rivalry. Not only crosstown rivals, with St. Mary's being just down the road from Berkeley and Moraga, but two of the top sides in the country. Both sides sending a number of players to additional honors via the All-Americans, full capped internationals, both sides having capped internationals via Rand Santos for the Bears, earning his first cap this summer against Fiji, and Dom Bisag having been capped in 2023 against Georgia. Looks like Dom Paga is going to check in for John Puckett. Paga started last week, had a very good performance against Army.
For number 6, John Puckett.
Puckett being carried off by his teammates, and we play on. We come back to that penalty. I think it was tackler not releasing from California, as Klein's going to put the ball, again, very neatly deep into Cal territory, virtually in the same spot from the attacking lineout that was so successful for them last time. Here come the Gales, brought down maybe a meter too shy of the try line. I think that's King Matu at the base, picked up. Bears unable to keep Matu out. 2 for 2 for the Gales on attacking lineouts deep in Bear territory. That's another 5 points by way of the St. Mary's Gales. I think that was, in fact, King Matu. Such a powerful runner as King Matu, the 6th year senior from Pittsburgh, California. A local East Bay boy enjoying his rugby at St. Mary's. Well struck from Maudlin, and the flags go up, picking up 2 more points. Brings our score 14 points to 5 in favor of the visitors from Moraga. St. Mary's over California as we approach the halfway point of this first half here at Witter Rugby Field in Berkeley. Brought down by Coakley, the captain. Wide ball from Maudlin. Early tackle from Paga. Kind of a squirrely kick from Klein, but it's going to work out for him as Cook is unable to gather it. Eventually knocked on. And a good momentum swing for the Gales, keeping the pressure on California. Another scrum center not far from our last scrum. This time the Gales having available to them a far greater left side option. We saw Storty and Maudlin work that left side last time, with the balance of the Gales backline lined up quite flat. Here comes Bisak dumping the ball into a tidy line from Papa, spotting in some space. Well supported by Toyavu. Gets around a number of California Bears, including Coy and Williams. That's 3 tries in a row for the Gales, with some very sharp feet from TJ Pappas and JT Toyavu. Three tries for the Gales from 3 attacking set pieces so far. All 3 very well worked. We saw 2 off of the attacking line out, and that one with a very hot line as the centers, Dom Bisag and TJ Pappas linking up. Spotting a soft shoulder in the California defense. Tester of a kick now for Maudlin. Loses his footing, does Maudlin, right at the strike. "21 points gone in the first half. Sees our score 19 points to 5 in favor of the Gales. 3 unanswered tries from St. Mary's. Big opportunity here for California to respond. The very good kick from Fell, if he's not overcooked it. Eventually gathered up by Wilson. Brought down by Kirk. Maudlin to Klein. Into the waiting arms of Emmett. Cook finds his 8th man, the big man, Iramea. Iramea with a thumping tackle on Iramea from Wilson, but the Bears play on, having spotted some space down the right touchline. Into Kirsten now. Here's Walsh. Williams to Santos. To Paga, the replacement. Santos fell. Coy unable to catch it the first time, but keeps his head about him. Schroeder tackled by Manzoni. Nice line from Kurt and well met from McKeon. Here's Cook. Bears stringing a number of phases together. Walsh out the back to Santos. Flat ball to Schroeder. Jumped on by Toyavo. Here's Iramea. Always seems to find the gain line, does Iramea. Kirk gets around his opposite number, Rouse. Nice flat ball to Santos, out the back to Fell. Fell to Threlkeld, tidy ball, and short to Cook. Well-earned penalty from California, having strung several phases together. And a staunch Gales defense. California keeping their foot on the gas in those exchanges, eventually earning themselves a penalty. I think it was not releasing, as spotted by referee Matt Lawrenson. Important line out for California now. All of the experience from Cade Christ is going to need to be drawn on. Christ, having spent time with the USA U18s and U20s, needs to convert now and does so to his second rower, Schroeder. Krista Fell, the show and go, getting around his opposite man, Pappas. Santos wants to go himself with a nice left step off of his Eagle teammate, Bisag. Coy now doing a good job to remain in bounds, brought down on the 5-meter line. 5 meters away now are California. Cook staying in bounds to Christ. Bit of a hospital ball from Solomon Williams to a hard-charging Mac Fell. Advantage being played. We're going to come back to that transgression right on the 5-meter line. Mac Fell, having scored a try last week from about 6 meters out off of a very hot line, fancying his chances for another spot of space this weekend. Scrum time, California 5 meters out of the Gale try line. Being treated to the first wrinkle here from the Bears sees Mac Fell taking the place of Iramea. Iramea getting him into the midfield for a hard-charging carry. Brought down a meter out is Iramea. Schroeder jumped on by the Gales. Christ now over the line. I think he's over. He is, in fact. Cade Christ picking up a try of his own. Yet another set-piece try. This time by way of the California Golden Bears. 10 points to 19 with the ensuing conversion on its way. It's a good kick from Santos. Virtually splits the upright, does Rand Santos, the fly half.
California
Brings our score 19-12. The Bears within 7 points of the Gales. Substitution for California sees Hugo Schroeder having been brought off the pitch for what looked like some blood. Byron Finley checking into the contest now. Well gathered from Storty to Klein. Klein's going to test this right side with a perfectly weighted kick from Klein. Not more than a meter of space left as the ball trundles out of bounds. virtually on the 10-meter line for Cal. Good throw and catch from Christ to Boynia, dumping off to Iramea into the midfield. Here come the California backs to Thraukeld. Well tackled by B-Sag. Quickly jumped on by the Gales. I think that was King Matu, the 8th man, earning his side a turnover. Kind of a squirrely kick from Klein, unable to find touch as Cook is going to exit. Right on the 22. Bears not out of the woods yet as the Gales have another attacking scrum deep in Bear territory. Well won by Coakley. Maudlin to Klein. B-Sag jumped on by Paga. Now Wilson. Finley slow to roll away, spotted by the referee. Advantage being played for the Gales, and we're going to come back to that. Infraction spotted. Not rolling away, says the referee. And it looks like Klein wants to keep working that attacking line out. Why wouldn't you? It's worked so well for them so far. Curious to see what set piece move the Gales have in store for us. This being at least the 3rd attacking line out on that far touch line, not far out of the try line. First 2 having worked so well. Unable to bring it in are the Gales, as Boynia's going to jump on a loose ball and keeping the ball alive. Here comes Thraukeld. Numbers and space available to Thraukeld. Coy with an unforced error, unfortunately, from Masi Coy. Passing the ball directly into touch. I think he saw this near side assistant referee, Tim Liu, in support, to be fair to Coy. Liu was unmarked and away. Just not in a striped jersey for California. McKeon brings that ball down. Well gathered by Klein. Klein again. Storty, Coakley. Stripped in the tackle by Walsh, keeping the ball alive from Sullivan Williams. Spacing behind, opts for the chip and chase. Here comes Coy and Williams. If he can get there, it's try time for Coy. Well worked, Solomon Williams and Masi Coy. So good to see Masi Coy, the freshman, making up for that error not 60 seconds ago and picking up 5 points for his side, all on the back of a very heads-up play from Captain Charlie Walsh, stripping the runner of the ball in the tackle contest. Bringing California within a conversion and a share of the lead. Got the wind at his back, does Santos. This the preferred angle for a right-footed striker. He's able to work his draw. Tugs it, does Santos. Leaving the ball just left of the uprights. About 7 minutes remain in this first half. 19 points to 17 in favor of St. Mary's College. Both sides trading blows. And a high caliber of collegiate rugby on display this afternoon in Strawberry Canyon. Calmly gathered in by Iramea. Williams, a deep ball to Santos. Good strike from Santos. And well read by Storty. Klein wants to run. Storty brought down by Fell. Hacked through from Threlkeld. The referee says that's not allowed, and BSAG wants to play quickly, not taking the tap through the mark, so we're going to come back and likely see the fly half Ollie Klein try and work that ball deep into Cal territory. It's an option we've seen so many times so far in this first half. Klein, the junior from Auckland, New Zealand. Nate Deegan finds his jumper. Brian McKeon. BSAG. Into Ofa. It's a good tackle from Byron Finley on Big John Wilson. And well counter-rucked by California. Not through the gate, says the referee. And California is the beneficiary of a very big tackle from Byron Finley. Earning themselves a turnover are the Bears. As Santos kind of weighing his options here as to where he might opt to put this ball. Looks like he's going to decide the right touchline in the end. And speaking with Coach Clark before today's contest, big task for the Bears. He said their very best players need to play well today. Rand Santos going to be one of those Bears that needs to play well, the Rudy Schultz nominee and capped international. Here's Santos now. Fell with a wide ball to Cook. Cook keeping the ball off of his shoelaces and well resourced by the Bears. And Christ is going to tuck it underneath his arm. Tackled by Coakley. Santos underneath to a supporting Fell. Williams. Iramea. Space spotted in behind from Santos to a chasing Charlie Walsh. Love to see the big man in some space. Santos to Threlkeld. Inserting himself as Threlkeld. Able to get around Storty. That's try-time California. Love to see the headsy interplay from the leaders of this team. Chip and Chase from Santos. And all the skill and presence of mind from Charlie Walsh. Santos supporting that next phase of play. Numbers and space were available and on offer down that left side for California. As Santos spotted a gap to a hard-charging Threlkeld. Cal doing a great job of answering St. Mary's 3 tries with a pair of their own, with perhaps 2 more points to come, as Santos does in fact convert. 24 points to 19 in favor of the Bears, with about 2.5 minutes remain in the first half. Momentum having swung to California. If you're St. Mary's now, it's all about how you respond. Making sure they stick to the game plan. Stay on the right side of the referee. Well challenged by Matt Abbas, the blindside flanker for the Gales. Here comes Walsh again. Looks like we're going to be treated to a box kick from Solomon Williams. Nice. And high strike. Masi Koi in pursuit, as is Finley. Keeping the ball alive into Bisag. Here comes Dom Bisag, the danger man. Pinning his ears back. Plenty of pace and plenty of skill from Dom Bisag. What a response from the St. Mary's Gales. And just what you want to see if you're a Gales fan. With all of the speed and all of the experience of your Captain International, Dom Bisag, the junior from De La Salle High School. Not far down the road from Berkeley. Plenty of De La Salle grads on the pitch today. Well represented. Perhaps none more so than Dom Bisag. Such an attacking threat is Dom Bisag when he gets his hands on the ball. You see him lined up in the 13 outside center shirt, but so oftentimes working off as a second receiver, looking to get his hands on the ball. Always looking for a soft shoulder as Bisag, as Maudlin doesn't get all of that strike. 10 seconds remain by way of the clock. It looks like we are going to see this restart. I think St. Mary's thought we might go into halftime. Fell wants to play quickly as St. Mary's is still working to realign. Not so fast, says referee Matt Lawrenson. Despite the clock having ticked beyond the 40-minute mark, we are in fact going to see this restart. All square at 24 points. What a response from St. Mary's as California is going to get us underway. Well pursued by Coy, and a good tackle on Coakley, the captain. Maudlin says that's enough and is going to put the ball into touch, take us into halftime. There's the halftime whistle from referee Matt Lawrenson. All square at 24 points aside. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with second half action here at Witter Rugby Field in Berkeley.
Rugby to follow the Golden Bears on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And Fans Cal Rugby Summer Camp for boys ages 14 to 18 will take place. For the Golden Bears, number 19, Brian Finley. For number 4, Hugo Schroeder.
Welcome back, rugby fans. It is a perfect day for rugby at the University of California, with second half action set to kick off at Witter Rugby Field. The Bears playing hosts to St. Mary's Gales. A capacity crowd joins us this afternoon, even seeing some fans lined up behind the tower here on Tightwad Hill, all looking for a glimpse into these two powerhouse collegiate sides facing off in Strawberry Canyon this afternoon. Ollie Klein gets us underway. Restart brought in by Coy. Nice line by Boynia, keeping his legs alive. Jumped on by the Bears. Space and numbers out to their right for the Bears. Threlkeld spotting some space. In behind, here's Klein to Storty. Space down that right side for Storty. If he can use it, if that ball rolls into touch, it's going to be a 15-22, but sits up instead. As Santos gets around Storty. Storty eventually running him down and bringing him down right on the 10-meter line. Iramea. Big fend from Iramea. Well tackled by Matu. Threlkeld. Tackled by Rouse. Double tackle from the Gales on Dom Paga. Santos dumps the ball inside to Cook, but stripped, and the tackle is Cook by Deegan. Gales now on attack. Not rolling away, says the referee. Good string of play for the Gales, having stripped that ball out in contact and then earning themselves a penalty early on in this first half. Second half, excuse me. Another well-placed kick from Ollie Klein. Sees an attacking line out for St. Mary's. About 10 or 11 meters outside of the California try line. The attacking line out deep in Bear territory worked so well for the Gales in the first half, scoring 2 tries off of the set piece. Not so this time, as the ball doesn't go to hand and eventually jumped on by Paga. The Bears now taking a turn, earning themselves a penalty. Paga's been good for the Bears since having come on early in the first half. After starter John Puckett went down with injury. Kept alive by the Gales as Santos is unable to find touch. Gales now on attack, working their way outside of the 22. And another penalty spotted by referee Matt Lawrenson at the breakdown. Charlie Walsh, the Bears captain, looking for some additional context as to what exactly the referee saw at that ruck. I mentioned early in the broadcast 4 Rudy Schultz nominees on the pitch this afternoon. 2 from the Gales via John Wilson and Dom Bisag. And then both halfbacks from California, Solomon Williams and Rand Santos. The Rudy Schultz Award being awarded to the top male collegiate rugby player each year. Well-earned nominations by all 4 of those men. Going to get back underway here. Time on, says the referee. We play on. Nate Deegan tasked with throwing in the line out to McKeon. Wide ball to Klein. And a hard line by Matu. Abbas now for the Gales. Maudlin. Bisag dumps the ball onto John Wilson. Matu losing the ball in contact. Bears want to play. Here's Emmett Cook now. Big tackle, a number of big tackles from the Gales. Both of those looked high. That was Matt Abbas and then Dom Bisag. Didn't look like either of them had any arms as a part of it. The referee, Matt Lawrence, agrees. As Dom Bisag's going to go spend 10 minutes in the sin bin. Gales now playing a man down for the next 10 minutes. Big kick from Santos puts the ball out into the street, an attacking opportunity for California. Christ finds Finley with a tidy ball. Williams dumps it off to Iramea, keeping the ball alive to Fell. Dealey now. And Santos is going to carry in. Here's Kirk underneath to Walsh. Keeping his eyes and legs as Walsh. Good effort from the Bears captain. Space out the back to Threlkeld. Wide ball. Here comes Cook in support. Tip tackle from Siale Ofa. Williams wants to play quick. Excuse me. Yeah, Solomon Williams wants to play quickly. Walsh keeping his legs alive again. Brought down 5 meters now from the try line is Walsh. Numbers in space for California. Fell to Threlkeld. Threlkeld, the tidy stepped off his left boot. Try time. Threlkeld, California. Quick play and quick ball from California with the perfect way to respond to a yellow card. Making the most of the man advantage they've got available to them. Saw a number of good runs from Charlie Walsh. And a quick heads-up play from Solomon Williams. Always on the boil is Solomon Williams. No wonder he's one of the Rudy Schultz nominees. Is Solomon Williams. I mentioned him spending time with the USA U18s and U20s, the junior from Carlsbad, California. All set up for Max Threlkeld, another international on the pitch this afternoon, having been capped for Hong Kong in November against Brazil. Brings our score 29 points to 24. Bears over Gales 10 minutes into the second half. Here's Fell now. Threlkeld, the try scorer. Joe Kirsten in support. Plenty of pace does Kirsten. Kirsten and Threlkeld now. Threlkeld with the second touch in the movement. If he can get around Storty, he's in. Very well tackled by a chasing Mario Storty, but not out of the woods yet are the Gales as Williams is going to spot space. 5 more points for California. Both on the backs of heads-up play from junior Solomon Williams, the scrum half. Sharp hands from the Bears back line. Released Joe Kirsten down the edge, able to get around his man and find Max Threlkeld. You thought Threlkeld was in, except for a pursuing Mario Storty, the senior from Concord, California, another De La Salle High School grad is Storty. But the Gales unable to react in time as Santos again leaves that ball outside. Bears now taking a 10-point lead, 10 minutes into this second half, 34 points to 24 in favor of California. If you're St. Mary's, time for a response. Despite playing a man down, it's a good kick from Ollie Klein. Dealey unable to bring it in, but Coy in support. Boynia out the back to Santos. Keeping the ball alive, Fell to Threlkeld again. Here's Cook. Ball squirts up from Cook as he's brought down. Knock on, says the referee. Scrum time, Gales. Couple of changes, it looks like, for the Gales. We'll get some numbers here for you shortly. I think that's Maitav Arusha checking in, as well as Kieran Tingen, but do want to confirm those subs, as we do see, in fact, John Wilson still remains on the tight head side. Miss pass to Storty. Toyavo brought down. Here's Matu. Tackled by Paga and Iramea. John Wilson. Tackled by Kirk, but we play on. Here's Ofa to Storty. Toyavo in support. Storty gets around his man. I think that's Ofa again. Keeping the ball alive. Here's where Gales are most dangerous in open play. A meter out now are the Gales. Cahal Coakley, the captain, tackled at the try line. And what a tackle it is on the Gales captain by California. Held up, says the referee, as Coakley is unable to get that ball to ground. See ourselves with a goal line dropout after being held up. Looks like Bears are looking to make a change. Not so fast, says the referee. Perhaps not a stoppage in play that allows a substitution. I think we're going to see Philip Edstrom checking into the centers for MacPhail. But MacPhail is instead going to stay on the pitch and be tasked with dropout duties. Here's Pappas. Gets around Finley. Maudlin to big Matu. Arusha with the carry. The replacement front rower out the back to Storty. Wide ball to Toyavu. Five meters out now are the Gales. To the big man, King Matu. Bundles over, does King Matu. And the Bears answer with a try of their own. Well worked try by the Gales, keeping the ball alive and keeping the Bears under a tremendous amount of pressure. King Matu, the big eighth man, the sixth-year senior, graduate of Deer Valley High School. Such a handful with ball in hand is Matu. Looks like Ollie Klein's going to take all of the time available to him for this restart, as he's going to pick up 2 more points. Brings our score 34 points to 31 with a quarter hour gone in this second half. What a back and forth match we've been treated to this afternoon. St. Mary's visiting Witter Rugby Field in Berkeley. Bears v. Gales on ESPN+. I'm Keegan Engelbrecht. More changes now for California. Sees Jack Bizio checking in for Emmett Cook. And Philip Edstrom for MacPhail in the centers. As Kirsten wants to run. Kirsten eventually tackled by Matu, the try scorer. Santos to Edstrom, the replacement with a wide ball to Bizio. Bit of a miscommunication from the replacements, Edstrom and Bizio. As Bizio is unable to keep the ball in bounds. Looks like we'll see a shuffle of the deep 3 with right wing Kirsten moving into the fullback position for Emmett Cook. And Bizio taking over the right wing duties for Kirsten. Maudlin, Klein, Bisag now returning to action after his time in the sin bin. Wilson. Brought down by Deely and Finley. Wide ball out the back. Eventually brought in by Alpha. Loose ball, but play on. This is where Gales are most dangerous, and this is why. The speedster, Toyavu. Numbers in space down this left side for the Gales if they want to use it, but instead Klein's going to put the ball on his right foot. The very educated boot from Ollie Klein, the fly half. Putting the ball in behind the Bears. And what a kick it was, 50-22 for the Gales. For those at home, if the ball is kicked behind your own 50-meter line and rolls out of bounds beyond the 22, you retain possession, which is why we're seeing a Gales line out. And we are underway. Here's Matu with a carry into the midfield. Walsh tackle on Klein. The replacement, Joe Broughton. Ball kept alive to a looping B-Sag. Wadlin. Here's Arushka. Ball out the back. As Gales want to keep working the ball through their hands. Good hands from Filippetto. Klein, Wilson now. Wilson needing Kristen Finley to bring him down. Good carry from Wilson. Wilson with another touch. Here's B-Sag. Quick hands from Klein. Matu. Gales doing a good job of retaining possession, stringing a number of phases together, but we're going to come back for an infringement spotted by referee Lawrenson. Looks like it was a high tackle on B-Sag a few phases ago. See a number of replacement for the Gales having checked in. I'm going to do my best to get you those names and numbers. Number 16, Maitav Arusha. 17, Kieran Tingen. Enzo Filippetto. And it looks like number 22, Isaki Tukuafu. Gales 3 meters out now. Good hands from B-Sag, keeping his legs alive. Jumped on and swarmed by the Bears. Here's Abbas. Arusha. Bears under all sorts of pressure now. Meter by meter. B-Sag keeps the ball alive to Klein. Storty, big tackle on Storty by Coy. There's Tingen. B-Sag with the show and go. Frantic stuff now from both sides. Bears doing everything they can to keep the Gales out of the try zone as they knock on the door. Abbas with another carry. Well met by Paga. B-Sag wants to go himself. Another hard step off the right foot. Eventually over is B-Sag. Meter after meter sees the Gales earning themselves yet another try. Good patience and pressure from St. Mary's. Bears unable to keep them out of the try zone. 5 more points for the St. Mary's Gales. Dom Bisag, I think, the try scorer there. I mentioned, of course, one of the Rudy Schultz nominees and capped international, leaning on all of his experience and all of his leadership in such a tight contest this afternoon. Klein having taken over the kicking duties, it looks like, from Hunter Maudlin. 2 more points for the Gales, sees them take the lead 38-34. Another change for the Bears. Oliver Teague checking in the 8th man position for the big man, Iramea. Good afternoon for Iramea. Plenty of big carries and hard tackles. Lots of work to be done for Oliver Teague checking into such a big match this afternoon in Strawberry Canyon. Sellout capacity crowd here at Witter Rugby Field. Fans being treated to a tight contest. 2 powerhouse programs in collegiate rugby. I'm Keegan Engelbrecht. You're watching Cal versus St. Mary's on ESPN+. A little over halfway through the second half. There's Boigna working his fend, getting around the ruck. Santos to Edstrom. Quick hands from Threlkeld. Space spotted down that left side. Kick pass from Santos to Coy. Coy wants to put a dab in behind, but well read by the Gales. Open play now for St. Mary's again, where they're so dangerous. It's an inserting line from Siali Offa. Gets around a number of men, does Offa into some space. Stays on his feet and keeps the ball alive. The man from Salt Lake City. Maudlin decline out the back to number 22, Tuku Afu. Stolen in the tackle by, I think, Finley. Well done from Byron Finley. Wide ball to Santos. Here's Threlkeld with a hard step off his right boot. Keeps the ball alive to a supporting Santos. As Bizio pins his ears back. Keeps the ball in. Santos to Williams. Supporting Edstrom. 1 man to beat is Edstrom. Loses his footing. Does the Gales. Philip Edstrom. The replacement center. Getting plenty of work done is Edstrom. Earning a much needed try to keep the Bears in this fight. What a try from California. All off of the clever work from, I think, Byron Finley stripping the ball in that tackle. Rand Santos getting a number of touches in the movement. Well supported by Solomon Williams, and ultimately Philip Edstrom. Plenty of work to do left for Edstrom as he got around his man. Going to pick up 2 more points. It's a 3-point game with a quarter hour left to play and everything on the line. 41 points to 38 in favor of California. Each one of these sides trading blows. The winner of today's match earning the number 1 seed into the playoffs for the Western region. And of course, this one being one of the biggest rivalries in collegiate rugby, fans being treated to a barn burner of an East Bay derby. As Oliver Teague is going to bring in the restart. Here comes Boynia, well tackled from the Gales on a hard charging Boynia, driven backwards. Clearance kick from Santos into a stiff breeze. Coming off the mighty Pacific to our west. Not much purchase on that kick from Santos. Again, in fairness to him, it is a steady breeze. So another attacking opportunity for St. Mary's. Their lineout's been pretty successful so far this afternoon and continues to do so. Finding McKeon. Looks like Benny Hatch is checked into the match in the number 21 shirt. There's Wilson. Big carry from Wilson. Finds a supporting Abbas. There's Offa. Well tackled by Threlkeld. Gales continuing to work their big forwards in these tight exchanges, hoping to find some release for the back line. Paga again stepping off, not Paga, Bisag stepping off that right boot. There's Hatch with the second touch. Maudlin decline. Bisag out the back with a looping ball to, I think, Toyavu on that far touchline. Knocked down at the ruck from Maudlin. Penalty, California. Quick burst of the whistle from referee Matt Lawrenson with a quick word to Captain Charlie Walsh. Bears need to be on their best behavior so deep in their own territory. Any intentional penalties or cynical fouls so oftentimes result in a yellow card. Bears perhaps escaping that fate this time, as Klein's going to put the ball out right on the 5-meter line. Was so successful for the Gales in the first half, having scored 2 tries off of close quarters lineouts. We'll see what they've got in their pocket with 11 minutes remaining. Finding their jumper are the Gales, working the rolling maul. They're over the line. Surely it's down. It is, in fact, 5 points Gales, answering with a try of their own to take the lead over California. That deep attacking lineout has been so successful for St. Mary's all afternoon. I mentioned we saw 2 tries being scored from the movement in the first half. This now the third. It's a much-needed try for the Gales to answer and reclaim the lead as we approach about 10 minutes remain in the match. Ollie Klein's going to do his best to tack on 2 more. Such a close contest, every point matters. The fans like it. And why wouldn't they, as we see the flags go up? Conversion's good for St. Mary's, putting the Bears out of a penalty, needing a try to take the lead, 45 points to 41. St. Mary's over Cal with under 10 minutes left. Coy does a great job to reclaim that restart as Boyna finds the ball. Wide ball now to Edstrom. Santos to Threlkeld. Threlkeld getting around Bisag. Teague brought down by Arusha. Edstrom to Finley now. Edstrom wants to go himself, keeps the ball alive to a supporting Seamus Deely. Not releasing, says the referee. And now the Bears with an opportunity of their own, 6 meters out from the Gale try line. Back and forth stuff. What a match and what a treat this afternoon at Witter Rugby Field in Berkeley, as the Bears are going to opt for a scrum. Balance of the Bears back line shaping out to this right side. Edstrom lines up flat. Coy on the left, out of frame, virtually on the touchline with about 25 meters of space available to the blind side for California. Clock continues to tick down as the fans now get into it, understanding the gravity and weight of the moment. Attacking scrum, California, 6 meters out of the try line. Here goes Edstrom into the midfield. Taking their time are the Bears as Williams finds Finley. Into Teague. Wide ball to Santos. Space if they want to use it. Threlkeld brought down just short of the try line by pursuing Bisag. Great tackle from Don Bisag. Here comes Oliver Kirk. Bears continuing to use their forwards. And why wouldn't you? Feet away from the try line now. Here's Santos. Great tackle from the Gales on Santos. Walsh now. Gales under an enormous amount of pressure, doing a great job to keep the Bears in front of them. Advantage being played from an infringement at this ruck. Williams spotting a little bit of space in behind. Clever kick from Williams. Well read by Max Threlkeld. What a try, California. Solomon Williams take a bow. The headsy scrum half. Advantage being played. It was a shot for nothing, so why wouldn't you put a ball in behind an eager Gale defense? And well read from Threlkeld, jumping on that loose ball. Much needed 5 points for California to stay in this match, with a little over 5 minutes left and a tester of a conversion for replacement center Philip Edstrom. It's a difficult angle, being right of the uprights for a right-footed striker into a steady breeze. It's a good strike from Edstrom. Fans love it. Flags are up. Great kick, Edstrom. Keeps the scoreboard ticking over, 48 points to 45. California over St. Mary's. Back and forth stuff this afternoon in the Canyon. What a contest and what a game the fans are being treated to this afternoon. Great kick and a great tackle. Sees a pursuing B-Sag put on, I think that's Oliver Teague from the Bears. Bears now under tremendous amount of pressure deep in their own end. Cal needs to get into their exit protocols. Here's Fenley. Fenley keeping his legs alive. Perhaps a rolling maul now. He's got to work the ball back, doing a really good job to work it back. Not so, says the referee. And what a swing for St. Mary's. Attacking center scrum now for St. Mary's. What an attacking opportunity to regain the lead for the Gales. About 3.5 minutes left in the contest. You got to think it's do or die for St. Mary's at this point. And what an opportunity to try and take the lead. An attacking scrum deep in Cal territory. Big open side available to the right with the balance at the back, shaping left. Klein double switch to B-Sag. Shoestring tackle by Williams. Big shot by Finley. There's John Wilson, the big man. Seen a lot of carries, has Wilson this afternoon. Kind of an awkward ball to, I think, Arusha. Backwards, says the referee, and we play on. Maudland into Wilson again. Out the back, Klein, big miss. To number 20, Sione Ofa. The brother of Siali Ofa, the starting winger, having checked into the match. It's another Wilson carry. Number of phases being strung together by the Gales. Stripped by Charlie Walsh. Here's Oliver Kirk. Charged down by the Gales and jumped on by Dom Paga. Play on, says the referee, as Gales pile into that ruck. Turning it over to Gales. Little over 90 seconds left. Klein with a wide ball to Storty. Danger man is Storty. Tackled by Santos. McKeon unable to hold on to it. Excuse me, I think that was number 6, Abbas. And a collective sigh of relief from California. And a bit of frustration for the Gales. Can't help but blame him. What an opportunity for the Gales to try and earn some points and take the lead back in this match. .62 seconds remain in this match as Dom Paga is going to come off. Brady Weingart checking into the match with all of the pressure and all of the intensity as one would expect for Cal St. Mary's. What a contest we've been treated to this afternoon. Each side trading blows. Plenty of momentous swings, plenty of heart, intensity, physicality on display. 30 seconds left. California's got to get out of their own end. All the Bears need to do is maintain possession for another 16 seconds, and the match is theirs. St. Mary's is going to do their best to try and poach the ball at ruck time, strip the ball in the tackle. Perhaps the last one here is Brian Boyna. He's going to carry down Questions from Solomon Williams with a confirmation from the referee. That's it. Solomon Williams kicks it out of bounds. There's the final whistle from the referee. What a match this afternoon at Witter Rugby Field. Credit to the St. Mary's Gales. Hard fought by a number of Gales, and what a display of collegiate rugby here on ESPN+. That's it from the referee. First round of playoffs will kick off in a fortnight, first weekend in April. Keep an eye out for seedings and matchups shortly to watch this entire match on replay, and I suggest you do. What a treat it was, as well as all of your ESPN Plus events. Download the ESPN app. That's it from us here at Witter Rugby Field. On behalf of the entire crew, I'm Keegan Engelbrecht saying so long from Berkeley. Once again, our final score, 48-45, California over St. Mary's College. We'll see y'all soon.